What AI rabbit holes have you been down lately?
Meta learning. So like I've been mad interested in learning how to learn. Or what does it even mean to learn how to learn? Like, so, given some sort of like, random data about a thing, you know, what's the optimal algorithm for learning what's going on in that thing? Also understanding like how like what are transformers doing, or what is machine learning doing, to be able to make cool outputs like GPT-4 does, or those kinds of things. And it's fascinating that next word prediction works as well as it does. And then, like, you wouldn't think that just predicting what the next word's going to be would lead to some of the outputs that you get from these models.
Okay.
But yeah, I just been fascinated with like obviously like learning is important, right? So like, if we start with the premise of like knowledge is power, okay, and then like, well, how do you get knowledge? Well, you get it via learning. Well, so then learning is very valuable. And then you realize like, well, if learning's valuable, learning how to learn is really valuable. Okay, so like learning how to learn. So I've been down a rabbit hole with learning how to learn, like in a human sense, and what that sort of means. And then then you go in a the non-biological sense, which is machine learning or artificial intelligence. What does it mean there? And then just looking at the space of algorithms that currently do that is fascinating. And just like the different ways that you can go about it. And yeah, that's what I've been really focused on, just because it's intellectually stimulating. Like back in the day when Bitcoin came out, there was a white paper, like I read that, I was really interested in all of that. It was a really cool use of like technology and like different things from different areas, like again, like computational irreducibility, like using that to secure the blockchain is really interesting. It's a novel use case for that. But then, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the AI stuff is going to have way more legs to it. And like, as someone who's very curious and interested in a lot of different things, a hard thing to come to the realization, or well, one thing you realize when you go down this is that we've got finite time and we're computationally bounded, which means like you can't learn all the things you might want to learn. Like there isn't enough time in my life to read all the books that I might want to read, or the different things I might want to explore. And then you go, okay, well, shit, if you could get machines to do that, they could like, find the really cool stuff and then like teach it to you. And not just like teach it to you in like the traditional sense of like, you go to a class and you sit down and do that kind of stuff. It could teach it to you in a way that would like almost like guarantee that you understand it intuitively in like the most efficient way. Like it could know you so well that it could then teach you so easily. Part of the thing with trying to learn new subjects is like the teachers or like the people who write the textbooks, they don't really know what you don't know, or they don't know how to like bridge that knowledge gap to you using stuff that you already know. And I think like that's where AIs are going to be super useful, because they can know you, they can know where your gaps are, they can know your world, they can know your belief system, and then they can like frame things to you in that way, or they could use relevant analogies to help bridge the knowledge gap. And I'm just fascinated by that. And like, I don't know, it's way more interactive than in Bitcoin or crypto. Like you can have conversations, you can explore different topics with these AIs, and it's just fun. I don't know.
What's a way you can invest in AI right now?
Buy GPU making stocks. Like buy stocks of companies that make GPUs.
And why companies that make GPUs? I don't understand.
Oh, well, GPUs are the hardware that is used in machine learning and AI predominantly.
Okay.
So they do matrix multiplication essentially, and that's like machine learning AI is just matrix multiplication. And so that's what GPUs do. So the funny thing is, this is hilarious because GPUs were invented for their graphical processing units, right? So they would produce to process graphics for gamers. And then Bitcoin came out, and then they were used, like GPUs were used to mine Bitcoin, right? Because they were also good at doing those kinds of problems. And then now GPUs are for AI. So yeah, if you bought NVIDIA stock like, a year ago, you'd be doing pretty well right now.
Oh, okay. Like NVIDIA?
Yeah, NVIDIA. And I don't know. I reckon there could be a case for AMD. So George
AMD,
Hotz,
yeah, that's another big one. Yeah.
yeah, George Hotz has been hacking on a project to try and make AMD hardware more effective and more useful for machine learning. If he pulls that off, I think there's like a good bull case to be made for AMD stock as well. But at the moment, they're probably overbought at the moment. Like there's a fair bit of hype. So some people are still predicting that there could be a bit more of a downturn later on this year, but it all depends on what happens with the global money flow, right? Like if China's going to keep printing and keep stimulating, then it's going to be hard for everybody else to sort of pull back.
So there was an app that I used to have. I think I still have it, but I don't know what happened to the user base. It's called Iris. And on this app, Iris, Nancy Pelosi would essentially post her stock trades. And when she posted that she bought into NVIDIA, I think it was about a year ago, I actually bought in a little bit, but I was forced to sell down the road. So I didn't make a whole lot, but I was planning on buying everything that Nancy Pelosi was posting on there.
It was actually her? Was it actually her, or was it somebody following her stock trades?
It would say the name was like Trades of Nancy Pelosi, something like that. Yeah. I'll open the app.
So that's just somebody tracking her, like what she's buying.
Yeah, you can see her picture right there.
Yeah.
You see it?
I gotcha.
Yeah. So I was following like her trades because she's the inside trader.
There's a bunch of them. There's a Twitter account that follows like all the Senate, the political people in the US, and follows their stock trading and looks and shows you how like up or down their portfolio is. There's some people that are like savants, really. Like they've made some great trades over the last few years.
Guy, my dad was talking to me recently about hydrogen, because there's been lots of talks about hydrogen, and it's like a next big thing. Ty would have mentioned that they saw hydrogen as the future in cars over EV. I think there's space for both, but hydrogen could have a huge potential to grow. One stock that my dad was telling me about was Plug. I think that's the name, Plug something. And I think that's an American company, I believe. And there's another one in Canada called BLDP, and they're in hydrogen as well. What do you think about hydrogen? Do you see a potential in that?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's promising in the fact that it's powerful and all of those things, but I don't know about it. Like, I think there's lots of people that make arguments about it being not a good, reliable fuel source because it's relatively it's quite dangerous driving around with a hydrogen fuel cell. Like, if something went wrong with it, that would be a very big problem. Like, that's a bomb. Hydrogen bombs are dangerous. Just straight up, hydrogen bombs are dangerous. And driving around with a hydrogen fuel cell is essentially driving around with a hydrogen bomb. But, obviously, the more powerful something is, the more potential it has. So, if harnessed appropriately, then for sure it could be really promising. But I think there's, if we go back to that analogy of where are the tides, I think at the moment the tides are into electric and battery. I don't know if that tide's going to shift towards hydrogen. And there also seems to be a growing tide towards nuclear, and with AI and machine learning and things like that, solving the fission problem seems to be doable. So then that would mean that we just have abundant electricity, which would sort of, negate the need for hydrogen fuel cells to be used, because we could just have abundant electricity that would need to be stored in batteries.